You ever have one of those days where the world feels so gentle, so picture-perfect, you can't help but wonder if fate's just taking a breath before flipping the script? That was today. Gold sunlight on quiet streets, wind humming low, the world moving slow as if daring anybody to break the peace. But underneath all that, something big was about to happen. Something you don't see coming even if you stare right at it. That's how this all started. With a little boy named Leo rolling down Main Street in his blue wheelchair and a dog at his side, who could stare down a hurricane without blinking. Leo was just 7, but the weight in his eyes would break your heart if you looked close enough. His hands gripped the wheels steady, not shaky, not scared, just determined, like a kid who knew more about loss than most adults ever would. The dog walking behind him, a huge German shepherd named Thor, wasn't just a pet, wasn't just a service animal. No, Thor was more like a silent guardian, a living shadow, trained and tested and marked by a loyalty you can't teach in any classroom. If you caught his gaze, you saw it, something sharp, something old, a wisdom that seemed to say, "Don't even try it, buddy." But before all that, before the accident, Leo's world was so different. His dad, Daniel Hayes, was a police officer, decorated, respected. The kind of guy who'd run into danger so other people could run out. Daniel and Thor worked side by side for years, chasing bad guys, kicking down doors, you name it. They were inseparable until a rainy night, and a careless truck took everything away. Daniel didn't make it, but Thor did, and from that day on, Thor's mission was simple: protect Leo, no matter what. So here's Leo, out on his own for the first time since the crash, determined to show his mom, and maybe himself, that he could do it. Emily, his mom, watched from behind the glass at the local cafe, eyes never leaving her son. She'd agreed to let him try it alone, on one condition: Thor goes with you. Didn't matter, though. Thor would have gone anyway. Those two were like one soul split in half, glued together by loss and a stubborn refusal to give up. Leo rolled over to the patio. A little bump in the sidewalk jostling his wheels, but Thor was right there, steadying him, nudging his leg, a silent promise that he'd never let him fall. Leo grinned, pulled a balloon from his bag, his victory balloon, his proof that he'd done the whole trip himself. And as he tied it to the chair, the street changed. Not in a slow way, not in a way you could ignore. It was sudden, a roar that cut through the town's easy rhythm like a knife. Motorcycles, a whole pack, growling down the road, chrome shining, engines rumbling. They parked, leather vests, tattoos, the kind of presence that fills a space and makes everyone else small. The town knew these guys. They were mostly veterans, regulars, harmless in their own way. But today, there was a new face, Tank. If trouble had a body, it was him. Big guy, loud, always looking to pick a fight, especially with someone who couldn't fight back. Tank spotted Leo and Thor and, for whatever reason, decided this was his moment. Maybe he thought nobody would stop him. Maybe he was just bored. He swaggered over, towering over Leo, and started in with that classic sneer. "What's this, kid? A little parade?" Leo just stared, trying to be brave, but you could see him shrink a little. Thor didn't shrink, though. He stepped right between Leo and Tank, his eyes locked, his body saying all the words he needed. Tank didn't get the message. He laughed, then, and you won't believe this, but it happened. He kicked Thor. Hard. Right in the ribs. For a second, time just froze, you know what I mean? Everyone stopped. Even the birds seemed to pause. Thor yelped, just once, but then he moved. Not wild, not angry, just sure. He slammed Tank to the ground, jaws locked around his wrist, not drawing blood, just holding him, like he was saying, "You messed with the wrong family, pal." People gasped. Leo's mom bolted out the door, panic all over her face, but nobody else moved. The other bikers rushed over, ready to break it up. But one of them, a big guy with a beard they called Ghost, recognized Thor. "Hold up," he yelled, and suddenly, the whole mood changed. He knelt down by Leo, eyes soft. "This your dog?" Leo nodded, barely holding back tears. "He was my dad's." Ghost just shook his head, voice breaking. "Your dad was a hero, kid." It hit everyone then. Tank hadn't just picked on a kid or a dog. He'd attacked a hero's son and his protector, a living piece of the town's own history. Emily reached Leo, holding him tight, tears streaming, telling Ghost, "Thor saved my husband's life more times than I can count." Now he's saving my sons. Ghost nodded, walked over to Tank, and whispered something nobody heard. Whatever it was, it stuck. Tank's whole face changed. Shame does that to a man. The bikers dragged Tank off. No words, just silence. And for a while, it felt like that'd be the end of it. But sometimes, life gives you a second twist. Over the next few weeks, those same bikers started showing up again, minus Tank. One afternoon, they came carrying wood, tools, blueprints. They built Leo a ramp, fixed the fence, even surprised him with a wheelchair made for off-road. The best gift, though, came from Ghost, a little leather vest stitched just for Thor. On the back, one word: honor. With every act, Leo's world got a bit bigger. He started talking to people again, dared to roll farther, braver, stronger. The town started seeing him not as the kid who lost his dad, but as a symbol, proof that kindness can rise from anger, that loyalty's louder than hate, and that sometimes your hero wears a fur coat and walks on four legs. Word got out. The story of Leo and Thor made the news, inspired veterans, touched folks way beyond that sleepy town. And in quiet moments, Emily swore she could feel Daniel close by, his spirit living on not just in memories, but in every breath Thor took beside her son. Leo never stopped pushing. Each sidewalk conquered, each stranger greeted. Every single time Thor helped him over a bump, it was like the world whispering, "You're not alone." So next time you see a kid or a dog or a stranger with a story, maybe take a second before you judge. You never know what kind of battles they've already survived, what kind of heroes walk silently beside them. If this story moved you, don't just scroll by. Drop a comment. Do you believe animals can be more than pets, maybe even angels in disguise? Share this with someone who needs a reminder that hope's still out there. That second chances can show up in the unlikeliest ways, and that sometimes, just sometimes, justice looks a lot like a kid and his dog, rolling fearlessly into the sunlight, making the world a little better with every push forward. You ever think a story is over, then life goes and throws another curveball? That's what happened to us. Just when we thought things had finally settled, that Leo and Thor could breathe a little, the world found a way to test them all over again. It started with a siren, way out in the hills, echoing across town like a warning. Some folks ignored it, some got curious, but for Leo, it was like hearing his dad's voice calling from somewhere far away. And he couldn't help himself. He rolled to the window, Thor's ears pricking up, both of them knowing deep down that trouble doesn't wait for you to be ready. A fire had broken out on the edge of town, smoke curling into the sky, painting it in wild shades of orange and black. Everyone was gathering by the main road, fire trucks, police, neighbors, all with that tense look you get when you realize things could go real bad, real fast. Emily tried to keep Leo inside, her voice gentle but firm, but he'd gotten stronger, bolder, since the bikers built his ramp. "Let me just see," he pleaded, and finally, with Thor glued to his side, she relented. They joined the crowd, hearts pounding. That's when it happened. A sudden scream cut through the noise. Someone yelled, "My son! He's still inside." The old Parker house was engulfed in flames, heat shimmering off the roof. The front door blocked by debris. The firefighters were setting up hoses, but everyone knew. Minutes counted, seconds even. For a moment, nobody moved. You could feel the fear freeze people in place. That awful helplessness, you know? But then, out of nowhere, Ghost and his biker crew rolled up. They'd seen the smoke, followed their guts, and without hesitation, Ghost jumped off his bike, shouting for Thor. "Let me back up a sec." Most folks didn't know Thor's full training. Search and rescue, not just police work. Daniel used to joke that Thor could find a lost penny in a haystack if you asked him nice enough. Ghost, having served with Daniel, knew all the old commands. As the crowd parted, Ghost knelt by Thor, looked Leo in the eye, and asked, "You trust him?" Leo nodded, barely breathing. Ghost barked out a sharp order. Instantly, Thor shot forward, agile and purposeful, weaving through smoke, past broken glass, ignoring the chaos. For a long minute, nobody dared say a word. Then, a tiny figure appeared at the window. Thor's head popped up beside him, barking loud enough to shake the sky. Somehow, the dog guided the boy to where firefighters could reach him, even nudging a fallen plank aside with his teeth. In the end, both Thor and the Parker kid came stumbling out, faces smudged with soot, but alive. People cheered. Emily was crying, holding Leo so tight you'd think she'd never let go. But just when relief was about to settle in, Tank reappeared. Yeah, that Tank, the guy nobody wanted to see again. Only now, he looked different, older somehow. His tough guy act faded. He approached Ghost quietly, asked if he could say something to Leo. The crowd tensed, bikers on edge, but Leo nodded. Tank knelt down, eyes level with Leo's. I was wrong about you, about all of this, he said, voice rough with regret. Pride and pain battling on everyone's faces. Ghost put a hand on Tank's shoulder. Redemption's for anyone willing to earn it, he said, loud enough for the crowd to hear. And for the first time, Tank seemed small, not dangerous, just human. Days went by. The town started seeing Tank helping out, picking up trash, fixing bikes, even walking dogs at the shelter. Some folks forgave him. Some never would. That's just life in a small town, you know? But Leo, in his own way, showed what real strength looks like. He let Tank walk with him and Thor, no words needed. Just three broken souls, moving forward, trying to heal. That summer, the story of Thor's rescue made national headlines. Reporters came, cameras flashed, everyone wanted a piece of the legend. How one dog could remind an entire community that courage doesn't always look like muscle or noise. Sometimes it's just a tired boy and his friend refusing to give up. And on the last day of summer, at the rebuilt Parker house, the townspeople gathered for a barbecue. Leo rolled up, Thor by his side, Tank helping set out chairs, Ghost firing up the grill. As the sun set, Emily lifted a toast. To second chances, to silent heroes, and to never judging a person or a dog by the worst thing they've ever done. But you know how small towns are. Not everyone agreed. Some whispered that Tank didn't deserve forgiveness, that people don't really change, that scars run deeper than hope. Others argued that maybe, just maybe. Drop your thoughts below. Let's see if you believe in second chances, in the healing power of community, and in the idea that even the most broken people can help each other heal.